Let me introduce myself. My name is Hakeem. I'm a business development manager for Technopeak. We are Sage premium partner on this market, and we are a global IT company. We are part of a global IT company. And today we're going to be talking mostly about our latest changes that were there in the VAT. So we're going to be talking about latest updates in VAT that are, of course, related to the software as well. Also, we're going to be covering what FTA Accounting software approval means and what it is in general, why we are talking about Sage 50 UK, also how to handle VAT in Sage 50 UK. And then also we have a special offer for our webinar attendees. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Hakeem. I'm a business development manager, and I'm joined by my colleague Artem, who is our project manager for Sage 50 UK. He's going to be doing the live demo of Sage 50 UK later on. Just in short about our company, we are a part of a European global IT company. We have 5,000 people working in 80 branches and operating out of 5 countries. And we've been around for the last 20 years, and we have successfully implemented more than 150,000 projects worldwide. Over here in the UAE, in Dubai, we have 2 offices, and we have a little over 50 people here in our team. And we've been operating here in Dubai for the last 5 years. What we do is, on a general level, we do everything that has to do with automation of the business, starting from your accounting, finance, automation and software, and your vertical solutions, as well as the full IT projects, turnkey projects, where we start with your simple phone and email and hardware, office hardware support, and all the way to sophisticated IT projects. So we try to be one point of contact for our companies when it comes to their IT requirements. So let's get back to our main part of the webinar. And first part will be about updates in VAT. Just to make sure that everyone on the same page, I'll just remind everyone that majority of the businesses fall under the mandatory registration for the VAT, which means that if you are a UAE resident as a business and you have a turnover of more than 375,000 dirhams annually, then you have to register for VAT. This is mandatory. And if you are a non-resident business in here, you must register whether you fall under this threshold or you don't. It means that non-resident businesses here in UAE, they have to register immediately if they do any business here. And there is also optional. If you fall under 187,500 dirhams, all the way till, but before 375,000, then you have an option to register or not register for VAT. And I'm talking about taxable turnover. And just to remind everyone, I know it's already late, but just to remind everyone, if you have not registered yet, then you have to do it because there is a fine for that. And the longer, you not registering, the more problems and issues the business might have with the tax authorities. So registering, it's vital for businesses who fall under the registration requirements. So what are the, I believe, and my team believes, what are some important updates that some of you might have missed so far? And one of them would be, what is the first VAT return period you had in your TRN certificate, and have you checked whether it has changed or not? For majority of the businesses, it has changed, and you need to go to your e-service and check it over there. So if you have your TRN certificates and date in terms of TRN certificates versus date on e-service, of course, we strongly recommend to go and follow the e-service dates, because that's where all the dates were updated for all the taxpayers who have registered. For those businesses who have not registered, of course, you need to go and register, because it means that you don't even know the VAT return period for your business. For example, the first VAT return period, from Jan 1st to May 31st and quarterly thereafter, the due date would be 28th day following the end of the VAT return period, and then you have start and end of tax periods. Those might have changed for many businesses, as we see right now, because we work with a lot of customers who reported that their VAT return period had been changed, and they actually got the notification on e-service where they registered as a taxpayers. Also, it would be very important, because this is something new for all of us, TRN member. You want to make sure that you have it. If you have to register, if you fall under the requirements and you have to register for the VAT, you may want to make sure that you have your TRN. And as a customer, you have right not to pay your VAT or refuse to pay your VAT to your supplier if your supplier does not provide the TRN, if they don't have the TRN. Now, what would that mean? It would mean that for the individuals, just regularly when you go and shop somewhere, then paying VAT for individuals would mean that paying VAT for these to the suppliers who doesn't have TRN and is not registered for VAT, it's a waste of money. I hope businesses would not do that, but we could possibly see businesses who would charge VAT and not pay to the government because they're not registered. And for businesses, the VAT taxpayers, it would mean that paying VAT when supplier does not have TRN, is not registered for VAT, it's an additional expense since you have no rights to refund that VAT whatsoever. How to check that? How to check that your supplier is registered and they are sharing with you the proper and correct TRN number. You just follow the link. It's at www.tax.gov.au. Go to a section that says Getting Help, and then TRN verification. That's how it looks on the screenshot right here. So you can always check. You don't even need to register or to enter into your e-service. You can just go and follow the link and see it over there and verify whether your supplier is VAT registered and is providing you the correct TRN number. Some other frequently asked questions that we've seen and we've heard so far during this month and during last month as well is how to pay for your VAT, how this payment to government will be done. So far, government announced, for those who don't know that, it's going to be through e-dirham, and there is a limit of 15,000 dirhams through e-dirham, and if you are doing more than that at once, then you have to go to a bank. There's also fines for late VAT payments. This is in regard to VAT payments. There is percentage from the amount, which is 2% of the amount right away, and then 7% on the 7th day if you're not paying the VAT, and then 1% for each day starting from the 31st day. So you want to make sure that you're registered for VAT. You want to make sure that you know how to pay for that VAT when the due date is there, and you want to make sure that you pay it on time, otherwise the fines are there. And there is also one important question that is right now people have been asking a lot about is what do you do if you invoice your customers in foreign currency, but as per the law, as we know, the AD amount, they have to be in the tax invoice, or they can be recalculated, but what currency rate you use and where you get it from. As per the law, it's going to be announced on the central bank and the FTA website. So far, it's not available there. So what we can recommend as an expert in automation, we'll read this question every day and we'll did a bit of a homework to understand that better, is you can use either your home bank, talking about your company's bank, where they have the currency rates, or if they don't have that, then you want to use some reputable sources, let's say Bloomberg or some reputable websites where you can see those currencies, so that later on you can present, and in case if asked by authorities, you can actually refer them to a certain website that you use to get your currency rate. Also, some of the companies who might not be registered for VAT and who do not plan actually to be registered for VAT, or for example, even if they are registered for VAT, for some reason they want to do all the bookkeeping and calculation of and maintaining all the taxes in Excel, or whatever other way they prefer to do it, but not in a software. Is it mandatory to maintain books and records? Yes, it is. Taxpayers must maintain its accounting book records for a minimum of 5 years, and it's 15 years for real estate in hard copy or electronic copy. And fine for that would be 10,000 dirhams for the first time, and then if checked again by authorities and it's a repetition of the same, then it's going to be 20,000 dirhams. And if not registered for VAT, I believe that a lot of us think that if we are not registered for VAT, if we don't fall under the thresholds and we don't register for VAT, then we have nothing to worry about, and we have nothing to do with that VAT law. It is not so, because even if you're not registered for VAT, you need to maintain your proper accounting books and records, simply because FTA might want to check if you have rights not to register for the VAT. And if you don't provide the proper accounting books or records that you have to maintain in proper way, and in proper way, I would mean that at least as per the IFRS, so they can be checked by the standards that are known around the world. And there are fines for that, 10,000 dirhams for the first time, and in case if you audit it again, 20,000 for the repetition. I hope this part was interesting, and there were some updates, that you did not know of, or you were not sure that this is true or not. I try to provide, something that our customers talk about a lot. I'm pretty sure that there are other things that you might want to, know or hear and understand, and get some approval whether it's true or not. If you believe that we have not mentioned something that is important, then please share it with us. We will definitely share it on our future webinars with our customers and with the webinar attendees. There is one more thing that I would like to cover in here, it's a VAT accounting software approval. This is something that we hear a lot lately, and this is something that I believe a lot of speculation is going on around this question. And I would like to start with, what does it mean to be FTA approved or accredited, as we would like to put it. So what does this mean? Basically, government of the UAE tries to make all of this VAT law and regulation, and maintaining records and the information from the taxpayers as easy as they can. And one of the parts of making it easy is actually making it electronically, making it in e-service. So that's why FTA encourages and recommends software providers whose software is going to be providing businesses on this market features to calculate and capture VAT to get the accreditation from FTA. And accreditation from FTA would mean that the software developer showed the FTA authorities that their software works properly in respect to calculating VAT, capturing all the VAT, all the scenarios that could possibly be there to work with, to properly work with VAT, and has this sort of examination, accreditation with FTA. And also these softwares have to have the return formats and the reports and tax reports required by the government inbuilt in the system, in the accounting system, and that has to be shown to the FTA so they can approve it, or I would say again accredit this software. Whether it's important or not, I would say it is important for software providers, and it's also important for the government as well as the taxpayers. And the reason it's important for the software providers is they will get the accreditation from the government that this software supports VAT properly as per the government regulation, so that customers can trust the software. And for customers, it's actually now the source of making sure that the software is properly handling their VAT, because this, if software is not properly treating VAT, then there could be some fines again. And it's important for a government because government will be able to have more businesses to pass and submit their VAT return forms in an electronic version and not just upload it to the website, rather than they do it manually and then upload it manually. Is it mandatory for accounting software to be FTA accredited? It is not. This is where I want everyone to make sure that they don't get misled by companies, the software providers who tell that their software accredited and it's mandatory, don't go with the software or not. It's just to be transparent. This is just a matter of your research and understanding of which software you are going with and whether this software is treating VAT properly or not. To make sure that you see what software providers were accredited by the FTA authorities, then you just need to go to the tax.gov.ae, click on the section that says partners, and follow to the section that says accredited tax accounting software vendors. And if you can see the screenshot on the screen right now, it actually says that no entry is available at the moment, which means that none of the softwares were accredited as of now, because some changes are still going on, some debates and some discussions are still going on in respect to the return form and the way it has to be prepared in the system. So the major software providers definitely are in the process, and they will be getting the accreditation soon. But we as businesses have to wait for that to happen and check on the FTA website to see when it's going to happen to get this reassurance of the same. Just to remind you how important it is to actually have your things prepared and properly treated, because now there are some fines for that. And actually here we list like 5 or 6 cases, and we believe these are going to be the most common cases that we're going to be seeing throughout this year from the many businesses to get fines if they do not do their bookkeeping, tax calculation, and capturing properly. And the very first one would be the failure to keep the required records specified in the tax law, which just simply means that you have to keep all of your records, properly and maintain them properly. So if the tax audit is going to come, you want to make sure that you can give them the sufficient enough evidence and information to pass the tax audit. Otherwise, there could be some fines, and the fines are not small. The second one is the failure to file and submit a tax return within the specified time frame. And this is, there's first time fine and second time fine. The submittal of incorrect tax return by a registrant, there is also fine for the first time and for the repetition as well. So it's vital to actually submit the correct one. That's why it's vital to keep and maintain your books properly. A failure by the taxable person to display prices inclusive of VAT. This is what we all see a lot nowadays, that a lot of companies, a lot of businesses in the market do not follow that. You will see a lot of prices, price lists, and just businesses, not being able or failing to present their prices with the VAT. And this is actually subject to a big fine, one of the biggest ones. Failure by the tax person to issue the tax invoice or alternative document from tax invoice and tax credit note is the same fine. So again, we want to make sure you actually issue the proper tax invoice and tax credit note. These two are vital, so there are fines for them as well. You can see that a lot of things that you need to, as businesses, you need to take care of. You need to keep, track of in order to avoid fines that could actually decrease your possible chances to be profitable. Definitely, we as a software providers can support you with this. So if you want to avoid those penalties, then we have the solution. And this solution is our main accounting software as of now, is Sage 50 UK Accounting. And why we would say Sage 50 UK? Why we believe that Sage 50 UK Accounting is the solution that will definitely support you and help you avoid fines and actually just maintain your business in a proper way. Simply because it has a very quick deployment time frame. As of now, all of us are collecting all the data, tax data, to prepare for the first tax return period and to prepare for the first tax return format. So deploying the software quickly would be vital. This is what we can provide with Sage 50 UK Accounting. You definitely will get the control of all of your finance with this solution because you have a lot of tools to help you operate on a daily basis. It has easily and accurately manageable VAT module, and with that VAT module that will be shown later by my colleague, you can actually take control of your VAT accounting as well. You'll be able to manage your customers, sales, and basically understand your business performance altogether. So we're covering with the Sage 50 UK Accounting, Finance, Project Accounting, Inventory, and you have some important and very valuable features like multi-currencies there. A lot of companies here would require to have multi-currency, multi-company, which means you can create several entities in several legal companies and maintain books for them, and multi-users. So something that is definitely is there for every business is the multi-currency, multi-company, multi-user is covered by Sage 50 Accounting. We as a Sage Premium partner, we offer the deployment package that makes all of that easy for you as a business. You don't have to go through a hassle of thinking where to get support, where to get the information about how to work in the system and how to treat system properly. We provide all of that. And one of the special offer for our webinar attendees today will be Sage 50 UK Accounting with 50% discount. So if you're attending this webinar and you're not using Sage 50 UK yet, then you definitely get in touch with us and we'll give you this 50% discount. We also provide the annual maintenance contract. So I'm more than sure that this year accountants will need support more than any year before because the VAT is there for the first year, and a lot of businesses and accountants specifically, they will have a lot of questions on how to treat your VAT and how to treat different situations. So that we provide annual support contracts for our customers. and the implementation services full package, which will include the installation, the configuration with the given list. We do the creating of the database, chart of accounts. We do the data migration and different data we migrate, giving you the list of, the services that we do. Also, we do training sessions and we go live support sessions as well. As of now, I would like to pass the word to my colleague, Artem, who is eager to do a demo of Sage 50 UK to you guys and show you how Sage 50 UK works, what an easy solution it is, and what um, features it has to offer.
All right. Thank you, Hakim. Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen. Okay, let's start. And today I'm going to show you the main functions of Sage 50 UK. I'm going to go through VAT functions as well. And finally, I will show you reports, VAT return form, and some reports which related to VAT transactions. And first of all, I'm going to start from, with the interface. So as you can see on the left panel, Sage 50 UK has different modules such as sales, where you can find your customers, sales orders, invoices, and purchasing, where you can create your purchase orders, delivery notes, and manage your suppliers, and also your goods and services, bank accounts, and chart of account, and some functions related to accounting and to your money. And finally, you can see some options such as fixed assets, departments, and also projects costing. So let's start with the sales module. As you can see here, when you open your customer list, you can easily find your balance with your customers. You can see overdue amounts also in this one screen, and some contact details. Also, tables in the system, for example, customers, suppliers, and products, allows you to add some additional information, which you can see in a customer screen or maybe in products or services. Also very useful functions. It's called activity in the system. If you click to activity, you can see all transactions related to particular customer, and also you can change this option and see only outstanding transaction. For instance, your invoices or payments or credit notes and so on. And also system allows you to drill down into document and see all details about this transaction. So if you are going to create transaction in the system, you can start from quotations, or you can use only sales orders or invoices and credit notes. It depends on your processes in your company, and the system also allows you to convert your quotation directly to invoices, or convert your quotations to sales orders and finally create invoices based on sales orders. And if you create a new customer, there are some options which which now is might be important for you. For example, credit limit for each customer, payment due, this is a number of days, and when you create new invoice, a system will calculate automatically due date for particular invoice based on this information. Also, you can find here default tax code. So basically, the system has uh, many different tax codes, and now in UE we'll use 5 or 6 of them. It will be zero rated, T0, T1 it will be standard rated transactions. T2 is tax code for reverse charge, and other tax codes for transactions intra GCC and also exempt transactions, and some amendments to your input and output VAT. This is what you can define in customer screen. So once you define this information here, it will go automatically to your invoices. So usually tax code in customer depends on where your customer, outside GCC or inside GCC. So also, if you open a customer screen, you can input some bank details. You can attach files to each customer separately, and find also activity screen here. So by the way, each table in the system you can easily export to send to Excel. Just clicking on this function. So if you have, for example, if you want to export your activity list to Excel, you can just click that function and see all information in your Excel and change it or send it by email. The same you can use for customer screen, supplier screen, or products. You can also send it to Excel if you need. So how to create transaction in the system? If you start from sales orders, you can create it from sales order screen, and there is a function to, once you created new sales order, there is a function to allocate your stock. For example, if you don't want other users to sell it to another customer, you can allocate your stock under this particular sales order. And finally, in your products and services list, you can see that now in stock you have, for example, in stock 76 of your item, but allocated 52 of them, and finally in free stock you have only 24. So you can analyze it, you can easily find this information in your product and services screen. When you create new invoice in the system, if you selected customer and an item which you are going to sell, system automatically will define the tax code based on whether customer or item. It depends on option in the system. If you want to specify your tax code, your tax rate, depending on item, you can use option which allows you to set this tax code from your item. But usually, I think in UEE, people will use a customer screen to define the tax code. So if it's, for example, you have customer outside GCC, you can use T0 for your transactions. And before this, you can specify it in your customer screen. But for each invoice, you can change it manually. Once you type your price and quantity, system will calculate your VAT amount. And this VAT amount will go to your account for output VAT if you create sales invoice, or account for input VAT if you create a purchase invoice. These accounts you can specify also in the system. It's called here VAT on sales and VAT on purchases. So finally, when you create a VAT return form, these two accounts will be closed into VAT liability account, and you understand how much money you need to pay to government. So if we are talking about a report for customers, what you can find here, for example, debtors analysis. If you open this report, you can generate a report which consists of information about all invoices, all aged amount for this particular customer, or you can generate this report for all customers in your list. And you will see detailed information about total balance and amount aged into your aged periods. Also, very useful report here is outstanding customer invoice by due date. In this report, you can analyze amount which invoice amount and amount which customer paid and outstanding amount and total amount for each customer. Also, you can find here due date when customer should pay this amount. Also, if you use a department, if you have in your company, for example, different branches, and you want to analyze your sales by your branches or stores, you can use sales ledger departmental analysis. So this report allows you to see total amount by each department. So this report related to customers. Also, if you want to analyze your sales, you can go to invoices and credits and find invoice profitability reports. You can see net amount, cost, and profit for each invoice separately. Okay. Next function which I'd like to show you is update ledgers. It might be useful if you have sales representatives who just creates invoices in the system, and if you have accountant who need to check these invoices. In this case, he can just open invoice list in the system, check all invoices, and for example select all invoices which your sales created in this day, and use functions update ledgers. In this case, all transactions will go to your general ledger. So it means you can check your transaction before posting. So it can be also very useful if you want to be sure that you don't have any mistake in your invoices. So next module in the system is suppliers. Suppliers and purchasing. So using this module, you can create your transactions with purchase orders documents, and also you can just create batch invoices in the system. Batch invoices allows you to create transaction faster and easily if you don't need to use items in your purchase orders, if you don't need to use purchase orders. For example, if you purchase some expenses, you can open this batch invoice function, select your supplier, specify some invoice number from your supplier, account for your expenses. Also, if you use project costing in your company, you can You can specify project and specify cost code for this project. Some details you can also type here and amount. And this screen also allows you to specify different tax code. Each transaction in the system allow you to select tax code. System will calculate tax amount, and finally you just need to save it. It will go directly to your general ledger, to your expenses. The same for batch credit notes. But if you want to use your items, your products, or your goods or services which you created in the system, so you can go to your purchase order, create new one, select your supplier and items which you want to order to your supplier. So the same here, you can find your VAT amount, you can change your tax code, especially if you purchase something from outside GCC, you have to use tax code for reverse charge. It means it will go to separate part of your VAT return form. So it also requirement from FTA that for your import transaction, you have to use a reverse charge mechanism. So finally, when you create your purchase order, you can complete it directly from this window. It means you already purchased your goods which you ordered, or you can just save it. You can just save it, and you will see in your list of your purchase order, you will see that it's not delivered, it's not posted, and it's not on order. So it allows you to analyze the purchase orders in different statuses. So on order or not order or partially delivered and so on. For example, we have one purchase order that's which delivered only partially. So it means we can deliver only half of purchase order or some items. So there is a function in the system for this. For example, if you have one purchase order, I will let me change amount to. So we have quantity 40, for example, and if I want to purchase it completely, I can use function receive deliveries. In this case, system will update this purchase order, and you will see all items in your stock. But if you want to receive partially, you can use receive note function. First, you need to place your order. Then you can see this purchase order on order. You can create receive note for this order, for this purchase order. So as you can see here, ordered 40 to deliver 40, and for example, I received only 10. So now you can see that this purchase order is partially delivered. So, and the same as in invoice, in sales invoice, in purchase orders, you need to update ledger to send this information to your general ledger. It allows you to divide this transaction into two steps: creating purchase orders and updating their ledgers. The same as in invoice screen and customer screen, you can use for your suppliers, you can find this activity screen, which will show you all amounts, all transactions with this particular supplier, and you can filter it to outstanding only, for example, and you can see invoices from your suppliers. You can see debit notes and payments and advance payments. By the way, if you open supplier screen, the same like in your customer screen, you can find default tax code for your suppliers outside GCC. You can define by default T2 reverse charge code and use this option. In this case, when you create a new purchase order, this tax code will go automatically to your document. For customers and suppliers also, you can use different currency. So if you have some foreign suppliers, you can use many different currency in the system. You can use rates. You can specify your rates during transactions. Um, Let me find, for example, we have one supplier in foreign currency. If I create new batch invoice, or if I create purchase order or invoice received, so let me start with the purchase order. So if you select your supplier or customer in foreign currency, system will show you this field to specify a rate for this transaction. So you can specify a rate when you create invoices or when you create payments to customer or from suppliers. A couple words about the products and services in the system. When you open screen with your products, you can find you can easily find your stock in your warehouse, and you can find free stock and allocated stock also. If you use project costing in the system, you can allocate your stock by particular project. You can allocate your stock, and finally you can issue the stock for this project. Also, system allows you to do some adjustment in and adjustment out. For example, after stock taking, or if you find some mistake in the system, you can adjust stock, or you can adjust cost of your items. If you open one of item, you can find reorder level and reorder quantity. So it means you can define the reorder level for each item, and you can keep track of this information in the system. If you see these items marked as red in this window, you can understand that quantity of this item below my reorder level. So, and the system can automatically create purchase order based on this information. For instance, we have some items which is below reorder level. I can select some of items and use function shortfall. System will show me quantity to order, and finally I can create or purchase order for these items. It automatically all items will go to my new purchase order. The same information you can analyze with help of the reports in the system. For example, stock shortfall report. So it will show you quantity and the order level and quantity which you need to order from supplier. If you also open reports related to products and services, you can analyze your profitability by each item separately. You can see your sales amount, quantity sold, cost, profit, and finally profitability. If you open default settings for item, you can also define tax code separately for each item. in case you have different kind of goods which have different tax rate. For example, if you have some items which have standard rated 5%, and some of items have uh, 0%, you can specify your tax code for each item. If you have a discount system, the Sage 50UK allows you to specify amount of discount, percent of discount for different levels. For example, if you sell if in invoice you have 10 and more items, you can define 5% discount, and so on for up to 10 levels you can specify in the system. For example, if you have 20 and more quantity to sell, system will apply this 10% discount, and so on. These levels you can define for each item separately. In addition, I want to show you the functions related to accounting and bank transactions. So if you open bank accounts module, you can find here your bank accounts, and directly from here you can create payments to supplier or payments from customers, and also the same transaction you can create from your supplier list. If you open your supplier list, you can create supplier payment, and if you open your customer list, you can create a customer receipt. Also, system allows you to create customer refunds and refunds to your supplier in case you have some returns. So bank accounts module allows you create not only payments to supplier and receipt from customer. You can also easily create payments directly from your bank account. For example, if you have some bank charges which you want to pay directly from bank, which you need to reflect to your expense account, you can use this function. You can use bank payments, and also you can create bank receipts in case, for example, you got some loans from bank. You can specify here account for your loans, and you can get this money to your bank account using this function. You can reconcile your bank transactions just when you receive bank statement from your bank. You can open this function and compare transaction in the system and in your bank statement. And if you see all transactions separately, there is a function, the same function as in customer and supplier list. You can go activity window, see all debit and credit transactions related to a particular bank account. You can use some filters, for example, show only unreconciled or only reconciled transactions, or if you want to see only transactions within 1 month or 1 week. Also, I'm going to show you cash flow function. This function allows you to analyze your balance in your bank account or petty caches based on information in the system about your regular payments or your forecast payments. For example, payments based on your invoices which you created, generated for your customers, and in each invoice you have your due date, and for the same for supplier invoices. Based on this information, you can analyze the forecast balance on your banks and for particular date. For example, if you want to see which amount I will have on my which amount I will have in 1 week. You can use this window, and based on information in your invoices, purchase and sales invoices, you can see amount which probably you will have in your account by this date. So this is a bank accounts module. So you can also create banks accounts in different currency, and system allows you to create bank transfers between bank accounts in different currencies. What you need, just specify exchange rate during these transactions. If you go to nominal codes, you can see here accounts. You can find chart of account, and system allows you to create many different layouts for your balance and income statement. So it means you can create different formats of your reports, just creating in the system easily. And if you open chart of accounts, you can find here many layouts which you can space for layouts which you can create, and you can generate reports in different formats. If we open profit and loss, after generating, you can drill down to particular transactions in the system. Yeah, you can see accounts related to these transactions, and if you click one more time, you can go to invoices, to particular invoices and amounts. The same for your balance. You can analyze amounts, and you can drill down to transactions, to accounts. Okay, I'm going to move on to VAT module. After you created all transactions in this period, for example, from January to March, you can generate VAT. You can start VAT return process. In this function allows you to verify your transactions in the system to avoid any mistakes. For example, if you selected wrong tax code, or if you change your VAT amount manually, this function will check all these transactions. Depends on what you selected here in verification settings, such as identify possible duplicate transactions, or identify invoices or credits which have not been updated. It means if you have invoices in the system, sales or purchase invoices, and you didn't update your ledger during VAT return process, system will show you these transactions. And you can go and post it and then start this process again. Then you can specify VAT rate which you usually use, and if in the system during this VAT return process, system will find transactions which doesn't match these values, system will also have you message and show you these transactions. This basic function, basic verification settings which you can use in the system. After that, you can You can select your VAT return period, for example, from January till March of 2018, and you can calculate VAT return. So after calculation, system will show you some mistakes or some transactions which you need to check, which needs your attention, and finally you will see amount, you will see total sales amount, you will see total purchases amount, and VAT calculated based on your sales, and input VAT calculated based on your purchases, and finally net VAT, which you need to pay to government. If you check everything in the system, if you understand that this is a correct amount, you can reconcile VAT return. After clicking this button, system will close your input and output VAT accounts, and this amount, final amount, will go to your VAT liability account. So I'm going to reconcile this VAT return. So you can see it's this reconciled, and I need to post journals. So now transactions in the system, and I can pay. I can create transaction for payment directly from this window. Post bank payments. So this is so now this process is finished, and you can find all your VAT return documents in the system, divided into your periods. So I'd like to show you also VAT return form in reports. So we have VAT return form. We have a couple reports for analyze your VAT transaction in the system. If you generate your VAT return form, you can find your sales divided into different emirates. I will show you how to define emirates in the system also. You can you need to do it for each invoice. Then you can find transaction, for example, your zero rated suppliers, your exempt suppliers, and your purchase input VAT amount. And finally, you will see the same amount which you need to pay to government. So how to define emirate in the system? If you go to your supplier window, open your customer screen, and open some of the customer, you can see a field for emirate. What you specify here in this screen will go to VAT return form. System also allows you to define it. So I have some questions. Let me answer them. So I have one question: how to sell services. So if you sell services, Yeah, if you want to sell services first in your product and services list, you can specify that item is your service item. This is the one way how you can do that. And finally, in invoice, an invoice for customer, you can select this service. This is one of the way how you can do that. Also, when you create new invoice, there is an option. It's a product invoice or service invoice. If you specify service invoice, first what you can do, you can only type name of your service. You cannot select your item from master data. This is a difference between service and product invoice. And also for your project costing, you can use only service invoice, because if you selected service in this field format and open item, only in this case you can specify project for your invoice. This is regarding services. If we are talking about products, we also have non-stock item. Usually these are items which you purchase for your internal purposes. We have stock item, your usual goods, and what I mentioned already, service item. Let me have a look at the next question. Okay, many questions regarding reverse charge. So I will show you how to handle reverse charge in the system. If you purchase some goods outside GCC, first what you need to do, you need to specify your, of course, your vendor. And once in vendor screen, it should be already mentioned tax code T2 for reverse charge. Once you specify it in vendor screen, it will go automatically to your purchase invoice. So now we have T2, it should be 5%. I think you understand, if we post this purchase order, this 5 VAT amount will increase our accounts payable. So and we need to adjust this amount using credit note. I'm going to post it. So we have VAT amount to 25. But our accounts payable is not correct now. So let me post this transaction. Okay, now it's posted, and we see that our accounts payable with this supplier increased to 225, which is a VAT amount. And now we need to reverse this amount. What we can do, we have to go to suppliers, open batch credit, select the same supplier. We have to select the same nominal code for our revenue, and tax code will be T2 from this supplier. And we need to type this amount. That's it. So now all transactions, we have output and input transactions, which called reverse charge in the system. And we need to find this in our VAT return form because VAT return form generates based on tax codes. So this is how to create reverse charge transactions in the system. So let me see next questions. Just a moment, please.
Dear all, I would like to add this. We are limited on time, so Artyom, if you would be so kind to wrap it up on maybe remaining modules, if you want to finish up with fixed assets, departments, and projects, we could move on, and I could also answer a couple of questions that are coming there in our question section. And yeah, so if you would be so kind, thank you.
Okay, so let me finish this webinar by showing you project costing. I will not go deeper. I just will show you how you can reflect your expenses and your incomes by projects. So system has projects costing module. It means you can create separate projects in the system, and you can create sub projects also if you want to analyze your income and expenses total for some big project and some subtasks for these projects. You can also do that. And during all transaction in the system, when you create sales invoices, when you create purchase invoices, when you create your batch, also batch transactions, you can specify your project. You can specify project and cost code, which you can also create in the system. For example, labor expenses or some services, materials, and so on. You can divide your expenses into different types. Finally, you will see this information in your reports. If you are talking about materials, you can purchase your materials directly to your projects. If you specify project in your purchase order document, it will be allocated automatically to this project. If you just purchase materials and you are not sure on this project will go these materials, you can just purchase it without any projects. And then if you go to products and services list, you can use allocation function to allocate this materials to particular project. And finally, when you consume these materials, you can use issue allocations, and these materials will go to expenses to your projects. Also, system allows you to generate reports based on only including allocated stock or including only consumed materials. So I'm going to show you one of the reports. For example, project cost type summary per project. Another report, project profitability. In project profitability, you can see your amount of which you invoiced. You can see expenses divided into different tax codes. So finally, you can analyze profitability of your projects. Okay, so I'm going to finish. So I'd like to pass the word to Hakim. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tom, for this well prepared and made demo. I appreciate that. Let me go back to our presentation that I started with, so we can finish up this webinar. We're giving you, the special offer details, as well as our contacts to get in touch with us if you still have some of the questions remain after the demo and the first part that Artyom covered with the demo. So give me just a moment, Artyom. Can we share the screen? Great. I think by now you should be seeing my screen where it says live demo of Sage 50 UK. If I may, I would be continuing with our Sage 50 UK accounting and how it handles VAT. You've seen the features, you've seen the live demo, how it looks. Some of the things that set apart the software, in comparison to other accounting softwares on the market, definitely different VAT rates for each item, which is important. But on each line item in invoices, which is also very important because there are some softwares that are brought from other countries that are not meant for the VAT, but they, with some workarounds, the suppliers convince the customers that that's how they can work. But make sure you check with your law and whether it's compliant with the law or not. Automatically calculates input and output VAT, which is important because you don't want to do that VAT return format manually, and VAT verification settings that I also showed you. I'll go back to what we discussed earlier, that we do the full project starting from installation and all the way to the customer support. And when it comes to support, I would like to remind you that accountants will definitely need a lot of support this year with their accounting software, simply because it's the first year we're exposed to VAT. It's the first year where the government is going to pass a lot of changes to make the VAT law easier, to make it more logical into the respect to other things that are available in the market right now. So definitely accountants will need a lot of support, and to make sure that you get your support, we have the special packages for you. And those packages for support for Sage 50 UK accounting would include the personal account manager, who'll keep you in touch with our developers, with Sage, with the latest updates and upgrades in the software, as well as the FTA VAT law. Email and support, email and phone support, updates and upgrades. Also, we provide accounting analysis and recommendations on how to fix user errors, which is important because nowadays, starting from these years, user errors cost companies a significant amount in fines. And we also do monthly on-site visits to make sure that we help you keep your accounting system updated and correctly maintained. And one more thing that actually a lot of companies, a lot of customers of ours have been asking us for is to support them when they're going to be preparing their VAT return formats in the system. And for that, we prepared a package where we go over 4 times a year before each quarterly report format preparation, and we support you with preparing that VAT return format. Make sure that it's populated correctly, and you understand actually why the numbers are whatever they are. So if any questions, if any doubts in there, that's why we are there to support you. So we will be doing 4 visits under our annual support contract. We'll be doing 4 visits, 1 for each quarter. So if you feel that you need some support in that sense as well, please get in touch with us. We'll be able to support you for your software needs and for your accounting and tax accounting needs as well. So yeah, if you have any questions remaining after the webinar, then definitely get in touch with us. We'll be able to clear those questions out and clear those doubts that you have, and make sure that you follow the FTA website, follow our website and our updates. We'll be keeping you updated on what's going on with the VAT updates and what's going on with the software updates related to the same as well. And at this moment, I would like to say thank you to everyone who participated. The special offer proposed on this webinar is going to be available for the attendees throughout this month only. So please make sure you get in touch with us on time and ask us the questions that you have dealt with so we can get you the VAT compliance software. Thank you, everyone. You have a great day.